Hi, preschool friends. Welcome back to another episode of Mr. Beam Reads. Here's our third and final book in the David series. It's called David Goes to School, written and illustrated by David Shannon. We're going to find out what kind of fun things and shenanigans David gets into while he's at school and not at home. The first two books were about David's life at home. This one is about David going to school. We've made paper airplanes in preschool before. Even Mr. Beam likes to fly them. David Goes to School, written and illustrated by David Shannon. Now this time it's not his mom at the front, it's his teacher in front of her desk. David's teacher always said, "No, David, no yelling, no pushing, no running in the halls. That's not being safe." David's poking his head in the door. She says, "David, you're tardy." That means you're late. David's late for class. "Sorry," he says. Here David is writing on the chalkboard and now he's making funny faces. The teacher says, "David, sit down." Look at this. Gigantic wad of bubble gum in his mouth and he's playing with it. The teacher says, "David, don't chew gum in class. Put it in the garbage." The teacher must have asked a question because this girl is raising her hand and waiting patiently to be called on. But David is just yelling out. He's shouting out. The teacher says, "David, raise your hand if you have something to say." Look at this. He has paint hands and he is about to touch her hair. "Keep your hands to yourself, David," says the teacher. "Remember to be kind." Here, David's just looking out the window, daydreaming, while the teacher is teaching. When the teacher sees him not paying attention, she says, "David, pay attention." He's seen dinosaur clouds, car clouds. Here, David is supposed to be waiting in line for his lunch, and he just steps out and walks to the front. And the teacher says, "David, wait your turn." Taking turns as being safe and kind and ready. And then there was a food fight in the cafeteria. The boys are a mess. And they're both saying, "He started it." And the teacher says, "I don't care who started it. Clean it up." Look at this. David's out at recess. Except where are all his friends? The whistle blew, which means they all lined up. The teacher has to tell David, "David, recess is over. When the whistle blows, you line up. That's following directions." Look at this. They're in the library. In the library, we're supposed to be kind of quiet. And David is drumming on his book with pencils, making noises. So the librarian, she says, "Shh." Look at his friend. She does not look happy at the noise David is making. Well, here, he has to go potty. The teacher says, "Again? You just went." He says, "But I really have to go." Look at this. David drew on his desk. The teacher says, "That's it, mister. You're staying after school." you're not supposed to draw on your desk. But he cleaned every single desk in the classroom. And he said, "How does it look?" The teacher says, "David, are you finished?" "It looks fantastic. They're all sparkling clean." So she gives him a gold star for doing such a good job at cleaning up and says, "Good job, David. Thank you for helping clean up." "Yes, David, you can go home now." So he skips home to play with his friends. And that's a day in the life of David at school. Thanks for watching and have a good rest of the day. And remember to be safe, kind, and ready and follow directions. This has been another episode of Mr. Beam Reads.